Well, hello. Today is Tuesday, January 28th, 2020. My name is Angela Hooper-Menifield, and this is your HR Moment with Menifield and Associates. So I want to thank you guys for the feedback yesterday. As always, I try to deliver content that is applicable and that could help people. So one of the things I had mentioned at the beginning of the year is that we were going to try to make these videos just a tad shorter because I know your time is valuable and I don't want to waste it. As such, today we're going to do a two-part series. So I'll spend a few minutes talking about part A and then part B. But what we're discussing today is the tips for or how to avoid indecision and overthinking. And then, what are some tips to help us? So we'll do part one today. And so when we think about indecision, a lot of times people struggle with making a decision because, fear of making a mistake, right? And let me just say that should not keep you from making a decision. I've told people that I've managed for years and I still feel the same way. I can fix a bad decision. What I can't fix or address or help you think into or even coach you and mentor you through is no decision, right? So as a leader and a supervisor, one of the things that we must do is often make decisions, but we also need to encourage our team to do the same thing. So not making a decision is not an approach. And actually, indecision is a decision. So inaction is not the approach we want to take. So when we think about indecision, again, some of the reasons why it happens, it could be fear of making a mistake. It could be just overthinking things, which is why we included that. And as a person who's highly analytical, I think you guys also know I'm a DISC certified behavioral consultant, so I'm very much into DISC analysis, but my personality style is highly analytical. I am a person that's been guilty of, as they say, analysis by paralysis, right? And so when we think about that, we can see how sometimes being overthinking a thing can cause us to also not make a decision. Then there could be just, too much data. It's too much information and we're trying to consume it all. So there's a ton of reasons why we don't make decisions. But let's talk about what we can do to avoid overthinking things and being indecisive. So one of the first tips, and there are 8, and we'll talk about the first 4 today and then the second 4 tomorrow. So it's to know your purpose. Know your purpose. Your purpose makes the best decision more obvious. So one of the things that I often tell my coaching clients, I learned this myself from my coach, is that your purpose is like the sun. Everything revolves around it. So if you use it as the nucleus of deciding, it helps you make a decision quicker. So for instance, if you have a purpose in your life to help animals in the field of, of animal care, then clearly the decisions you make should lead you down the path of veterinary work, veterinary science, or some type of work that's leading there because that's your purpose. And so while some other things that may be an option for you are good suggestions or thoughts, they don't align. So therefore you don't have to be indecisive. If it's not aligning with your purpose, then more times than not, I would say maybe we should pass on it, at least right now. The second step is be logical. Oftentimes we make decisions based on emotions. And again, I know I am so guilty of that, right? But we then make the emotional decision and we use our logic to justify it. And so what we want to do is, consider how we would advise someone else. That's one of the questions I often ask people in various situations. But if someone else were to bring you the same facts, and then you look at them a little bit more objectively, even sometimes in coaching or mentoring discussions, we can take that same issue and apply it somewhere differently. So if our discussion is about how do I deal with my sister or my mom, maybe I step away and say, okay, so let's just park that. Let's move over here and talk about if you were in a store with a client, yada, yada, yada. And in that instant, it's just amazing to me how people are able to logically deduce what's the next best step for them. Number 3, Plan your day the night before. Well, oftentimes some of the decisions we're making about what we're going to do, whether that's work out, not eat out, prepare our lunch, it could be a lot of things, contact particular people, do some work. So by, using a journal, a planner, and planning our day out the day before and writing it or scheduling it to our calendar, guess what? We're more inclined to stick with it. So again, we don't become indecisive. Will I go to the grocery store tonight or won't I? Will I cook or not? And again, I'm using small things, but let's just be honest. It's the little things that catch us up sometimes. And so if we can just create some small habits of consistency and intentionality, we will find that we're more decisive in other areas as well. And then the other thing is, it doesn't have to be a perfect decision, right? So, I love the teaching of good, better, best. The best thing for me to do might be A, but a good alternative could work as well. And the last one we'll talk about today is know your values. When you really understand what's important to you and you're having to make a decision, when you know what your values are, you're more inclined to do it and do it in a better way because it either aligns with your values or it doesn't. And if it doesn't align with your values, then you already have the answer, right? So those are our 4 tips that we want to leave you with today. And tomorrow we'll come with 4 more. So again, we talked about knowing your values. Also, we talked about understanding your purpose and knowing what that is. We mentioned being logical. And then last but not least, I lost my page. Scheduling, right? Having a plan. So those are the 4 tips for today. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll talk again about how to avoid indecision and overthinking. Again, my name is Angela Hooper-Menifield from Menifield and Associates, and this has been your HR moment for the day. Have a great rest of the evening, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.